Discover 7 Miraculous Morning Rituals revealed by Lao Tzu for divine energy transformation. On an ordinary autumn morning, the air crackled with supernatural possibilities as Margaret stumbled upon an ancient manuscript buried deep within her late grandmother's belongings. The words leaped from the tattered pages like golden sparks. Miraculous Morning Rituals for Divine Energy Transformation. She felt a shiver run down her spine, awakening a flicker of hope that had dimmed in recent months. The thought of rekindling her fraying faith and rejuvenating her family and community stirred a fire within her heart. As she held the manuscript tightly, she sensed a warmth enveloping her, a type of energy that seemed to resonate with the very essence of her being. The promise that these rituals could restore vitality and divine connection filled her with reverence. With bright determination, Margaret resolved to guide her husband and children through these rituals, believing they were the bridge back to their faith and unity. Day by day, Margaret gathered her family and a few curious souls from the church community in the cozy fellowship hall. The scent of brewing tea wafted through the air, mingling with the gentle flicker of candlelight. "Let's embrace this journey together," she encouraged, her voice laced with conviction. "These rituals can open our hearts to the divine." But doubt shadowed her family's eyes. Her husband remained silent, gazing solemnly, while her children exchanged skeptical glances. The first ritual centered on gratitude, yet the visible walls of skepticism seemed unyielding. "Why should we feel gratitude for what's wrong?" one of her children questioned, the air thick with uncertainty. But Margaret urged them forward, her spirit unwavering. As they repeated words of appreciation, something shifted. That initial heaviness began to lighten, and muffled smiles danced at the corners of mouths. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Rituals progressed, and the once distant hearts began to melt like winter frost under the touch of a new dawn. Their voices raised in communal prayer stirred the atmosphere. Whispers of hope enveloped the room, mingling with Margaret's unwavering belief. "We can revive our spirits," she proclaimed, each word a gentle breeze pushing them toward harmony. But just then, despair knocked at her door. Her youngest child fell gravely ill, and panic swept through their home like a storm. The congregation, drawn together by concern, knelt in fervent prayer. Their united voices echoed, reaching for the heavens. Yet, even as the flames of faithful desperation burned bright, Margaret's own belief flickered as she grappled with doubts. Scientific realities clashed with her once ironclad faith as she prayed desperately for a miracle. In the hushed stillness of the prayer meeting, something stirred. Margaret sank to her knees, surrendering to divine presence. Suddenly, clarity struck her like a lightning bolt. Faith was meant to bridge her doubts. Closing her eyes, she visually summoned the energies of those rituals, a sacred connection unfurling around her. As the room grew charged with the fervor of prayer, she dared to hope. Could this community be a vessel for miracles? The village, bound by collective desperation, held its breath, thick with expectancy. Silent prayers soared like timid birds, seeking their nesting place in the heavens, while Margaret opened her heart wide. As divine energy danced around them, an inexplicable presence loomed, marking the beginning of something profound. Would her prayers be answered, or was this just the start of an even grander lesson? The air shimmered with promise, and hope trembled in the balance, waiting to be ignited once again. The morning after that fateful night was cloaked in a gentle stillness. The sun poured through the thin curtains, its golden rays casting a warm glow on the faces of those who gathered in the fellowship hall. Margaret looked around. She could see the deep lines of worry etched on the faces of her family and friends, shadows still lingering from the previous day. Yet underneath it all, there was a flicker of hope, a tiny flame igniting as they prepared to begin another of the ancient rituals. "We are here together, connected," Margaret spoke softly, her heart pounding with determination. "Let's let this energy guide us, for today's ritual is one of healing." She reached for the weathered manuscript, each page filled with wisdom and promise. The words held a weight that seemed almost tangible, mingling with the live energy in the room. As they gathered in a circle, Margaret closed her eyes, breathing deeply. She invited the congregation to do the same. Feel the air around us, the spirits that are waiting for our invitation to help. Believe that they surround us even now. Her words flowed like a caress, invoking a clean energy that began to wrap around them. Margaret had always read about healing energies, but in this moment, she felt it wrap around her like a blanket. The warmth was almost palpable. Those in the room began to share their fears and concerns one by one, their voices weaving together in a tapestry of vulnerability and trust. Her heart swelled with reverence as she listened. "I fear for our child's health and the uncertainty surrounding it," her husband confessed, the edge of sorrow in his voice slicing through the comforting atmosphere. Behind him, their children were quiet but attentive, sensing the gravity of their father's words. "What if we could focus our energy to create a shield of protection?" Margaret suggested, her spirit ignited by the idea. "Together, we can envelop our child in love and light." Encouraged, the group began to raise their hands, uniting their thoughts and intentions. As Margaret led them in gentle chants, each word dripped with yearning and hope. Each participant allowed their own light to join the collective energy, tiny sparks becoming one brilliant flame. The air shimmered around them, and in that sacred space, a shift occurred. Soft whispers echoed in the hall, a gentle caressing sound that wound around their hearts. Moments later, as though responding to their devotion, they felt a palpable presence, a divine essence enveloping the room, merging with their hopes and dreams. Tears pricked the corners of Margaret's eyes. An unexplainable peace settled deep within her. It was as if the universe had listened and responded with a love that transcended their understanding. A still silence descended upon the group, marked only by soft breath and the faint rustle of fabric. Margaret realized that this moment was not merely about healing, but also about transformation. Their hearts were open wide, their spirits expanding as they embraced the unknown. But just as the energy peaked, a fear crept back in. "What if it's not enough?" a voice echoed in her mind, almost drowning the divine melody swirling within. Margaret opened her eyes, looking around at those gathered. They were all in this together. They had the power to uplift, to believe, and they would not let fear take root. "Remember," she said, her voice steady, "faith may not always lead to answers as we expect, but it opens doors we never knew existed. What God has yet to reveal will only be revealed as we step forth into the unknown." As the gathering concluded, the shadows had not fully left their hearts, yet the warmth of connection and shared hope lingered in the air. What would they discover next in their journey? Would faith lead to the miracle they craved, or would they face an even greater trial ahead? The whispers of uncertainty remained, while the invitation to genuinely trust, to seek, pulsed through them all. What awaited them next in their devotion? The scent of fresh coffee mingled with the sunlight streaming through the hall. After the ritual, the mood had lifted, but the air still hummed with anticipation. Margaret stood by the window, gazing outside. The world was alive. Birds sang their morning songs, and the gentle rustle of leaves created a soothing backdrop. It was as if nature itself echoed their hopes, inviting them forward into the light. "Margaret," her husband called, drawing her back into the room. He held her hand, his grip strong and reassuring. What's next for us? How do we navigate this time of uncertainty? She turned to face him, a constellation of thoughts glowing in her heart. Maybe we seek answers through reflection. The divine energy that enveloped us last night is still present. Let's meditate on it. The children gathered around, their innocence glowing like candles in the soft light. Margaret felt a pull to include them in this next step. Maybe we can create our own family ritual, one that honors what we've experienced and what we desire. A flicker of excitement sparked in the children's eyes. Can we help? They chimed together, their voices pure and unwavering. Absolutely, Margaret replied, her spirit buoyed by their enthusiasm. Let's share our intentions, our wishes. We can craft a ceremony that's ours. As they sat together in the center of the room, Margaret encouraged each one to express what they wished for most deeply. Each child spoke in turn, their words creating a beautiful harmony of dreams. I want to be brave, one said. I want love in our family. Another whispered with eyes bright with hope. Then it was her turn. Margaret took a breath, steadying herself. I seek clarity in our path and healing for our child. When her words floated into the stillness, a gentle sigh escaped the air around them, almost in response to her longing. With renewed purpose, they began to weave their ritual. Dust motes danced in the sunbeams as they created small altars from natural elements. Pine cones, pebbles, and flowers represented each intention. Margaret guided them. Each item holds our desires, a tangible piece of our prayers. As they placed each item on the makeshift altar, a sense of sacredness filled the room. The children giggled and clasped their hands, feeling the warmth of connection not only to each other, but to something larger, something divine. Margaret felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. The voices of her loved ones, their laughter, and their dreams wove a tapestry of light that shimmered in the air. They were creating an energy that danced around them, urging them to believe. Suddenly, a thought crept in, gnawing at her resolve. What if this is foolishness? What if nothing changes? But she silenced the doubt, reminding herself of what they had witnessed together, the palpable presence of love and healing from the night before. Hold tight to your hearts, she encouraged softly. Together we can raise our energy even higher. The children nodded, their little faces serious yet full of determination. In that moment, they became a community of faith, bound together in pursuit of the divine, hope sparking brighter in their hearts. Let us offer our wishes into the universe, she said. As they stood together at their altar, raising their arms high, a current of electricity surged around them, weaving their words into the fabric of the cosmos. It felt as if they held the key to some hidden door, one waiting to be opened by their faith. A hush fell upon them, shifting their hopes into something tangible, something manifest. What awaited them on the other side? And as the air shimmered, the question loomed. Would the universe respond to their call, or would their journey lead them into deeper, uncharted waters? Would the path become clearer, or would new trials emerge to test their spirit? As they stood at their makeshift altar, the air thick with anticipation, a stillness enveloped the room. The sun streamed in, illuminating their small assembly, creating a circle of warmth. Each heart beat in synchrony, a gentle reminder of their shared intent. Hope danced in the air, palpable and electric. Margaret watched her children, their faces radiant with joy and belief. Imagine what could happen if we truly let go, she spoke softly, drawing their attention. What if we release our wishes to the universe completely? What if we offer it all? The children nodded, eyes bright with the purity of their faith. They understood instinctively that their dreams were more than mere words. They were seeds, ready to be sown in the fertile soil of divine promise. At that moment, Margaret closed her eyes, taking a deep, deliberate breath. She encouraged her family to follow suit. Let's center ourselves, feel the love surrounding us, and let it fill our hearts. In her mind, she envisioned light pouring from each family member, joining together in a radiant beam aimed skyward. As they breathed together, a whisper of wind flowed through the window, carrying with it an echo of something sacred. It felt as if the universe were leaning in, listening closely to their every hope and desire. The children giggled, intrigued by the gentle caress of the breeze. "It's like the wind is dancing with us," one of them exclaimed, and they all laughed in agreement. Margaret's heart swelled. She realized their gathering was more than a simple ritual. It was an act of unity. Each intention represented their distinct voices, but combined harmoniously to create something transcendent, something powerful. "Let's honor what we have," she suggested, urging them to reflect on their blessings as much as their desires. "What are we thankful for today?" One by one, they began to share their gratitude for the warmth of their home, for vibrant health, for each other. With every uttered thank you, the energy around them seemed to thicken. Margaret couldn't help but smile. "Gratitude is the wellspring of miracles. We build on this light," she reminded them. "With every moment of gratitude, we anchor ourselves in divine connection." Suddenly, Margaret felt a stirring in her spirit, an intensity that urged her to open her eyes. She glimpsed a shimmer hovering above their altar. It flickered like a candle flame, yet it felt like a living presence. Her breath caught in her throat. "Do you see that?" she gasped, pointing at the radiant light. The children leaned forward, eyes wide with wonder, captivated by the phenomenon unfolding before them. "What is it, Mum?" one of them asked, a mixture of awe and trepidation coloring their voice. "I think," she started, the words tumbling from her lips. "It's a response, a sign of our prayers being acknowledged." In that moment, a hush filled the space. The light pulsed gently, rippling with an energy that enveloped them all. It radiated warmth, filling every emptiness, every doubt. Margaret knew deep within, their combined faith had summoned something extraordinary. A tangible connection made through their shared intentions, an unfolding promise. But as they leaned closer, straining against the brightness, an unexpected question loomed in her mind. What if this was only the beginning? With the air alive around them, another dawn awaited. "Are we prepared for what comes next?" she wondered silently, as the light shimmered again, beckoning them closer still. And so they stood, at the brink of the divine, hearts racing, ready to see what lay waiting beyond the veil of their ritual. What revelations would unfold in the depths of their faith? Would their hopes turn into the extraordinary? The shimmering light hung in the air, a palpable presence that intertwined with their hopes. Margaret gazed at it, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and joy. "What do you think it wants?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I think it wants us to reach out," one of her daughters replied, her eyes glimmering with both fear and excitement. The others nodded, their small bodies leaning toward the light, as if it were a magnet drawing them closer. "Together," Margaret reminded them, feeling the bond of their familial connection strengthen around them. They formed a circle, hands clasped tightly, grounding their intentions to one another. Taking a deep breath, she led them in a chant, simple yet profound. "We are one. We shine bright. Send our love into the light." Each voice added a note, creating a melody that reverberated through the room. As they repeated the words, the light flickered in response, pulsing gently, inviting them to embrace what was unfolding. Suddenly, a rush of clarity surged through her. Margaret's heart fluttered with realization. This light, this interaction, was a divinely orchestrated moment, a chance to connect deeply with something far greater than themselves. She believed they could ask for guidance, wisdom intertwined with their intentions. "What should we seek?" she posed, her eyes flickering between her children. "We have come together. Our love is strong. What do you wish to know?" "I want to know if I will always be happy," her youngest child piped up timidly, uncertainty weaving in and out of her small voice. I want to know if I can be brave, another added, her tiny hands tightening around the grip of her brother's. Wisdom, are we on the right path? Their son's question hung in the air. Each inquiry felt sacred, filling the space with purpose and humility. As they spoke, the light began to pulse more vigorously, glowing brighter still. It's like it's listening, his sister gasped, a fragile awe dancing across her features. Margaret felt a shiver run down her spine. In this moment of vulnerability, with their innocent hopes laid bare, she could feel something stirring. Perhaps the very universe began speaking back. The air thickened as a warm breeze swirled around them, and the light swayed, slowly transforming into a shape, a luminescent figure emerging from the ethereal glow. "Look!" one of the children exclaimed. Eyes wide, they watched as the figure solidified, radiating peace and love, as if it embodied everything they had just called forth. The brightness wrapped around them like a warm blanket, encouraging yet daunting. "Children," Margaret murmured, both terrified and enthralled. "I think we are being answered." Suddenly the figure spoke, its voice flowing like a gentle stream. "Your hearts are aligned, your intentions pure. Ask, and it shall be given. But remember, the path is not without trials. Will you remain steadfast in faith?" The children gasped, feeling the mystery of the moment wash over them. Margaret's heart raced as she realized they now faced the choice of how to respond. What do we say? She wondered. Could they accept the journey with all its challenges? Could they embrace the unknown beckoning them forward? And in that sacred pause, laden with potential, the air grew still once again. They were on the edge of something profound, a turning point where they must decide. What truths awaited them on the other side of this encounter? Would they be made stronger through the trials ahead, or would they falter? In the silence, a question lingered. Would their faith guide them, no matter what lay ahead? Would they believe in the unseen? Margaret's heart raced at the figure's words. It felt as if time stood still. Was this not what they had been asking for? It was a test, she recognized, a sacred moment serving as a mirror, reflecting their innermost thoughts and desires back to them. "Together," she whispered again, squeezing the hands of her children. "We must respond as one." "What if we say we are ready?" her son ventured, his voice quivering slightly, unwavering in its intention. The figure's light flickered, pulsing softly with approval, as if echoing the power of their collective spirit. "Yes, ready," the youngest echoed, her face lit with determination. "Ready to face anything, Mom." "That's right," Margaret affirmed, a soothing warmth spreading through her. She could feel their unity strengthen, like threads weaving a strong fabric of hope and courage. "Then let's say it. We are ready," they chanted in unison, their voices rising in harmony. The room resonated with their declaration, each syllable infused with newfound vigor. At their affirmation, the figure nodded gently. The air shimmered, and the warm presence enveloped them further. "In your readiness lies strength. You shall be guided. Faith will illuminate your path. Remember, not all roads are easy, yet each step brings wisdom. Trust this journey." Margaret's heart swelled with emotion. "Thank you," she breathed, her voice trembling with gratitude. The figure began to glow brighter, and with that light came a rush of clarity. Vivid images filled her mind, moments of joy, laughter, and love intertwining with challenges faced and overcome. Each vision held a lesson, whispers of what could come to pass, a life filled with richness and depth, woven together by trials and triumphs. Suddenly, the light flickered and began to expand, revealing a doorway shimmering at its edges. "Your hearts have opened a portal. Step forward with courage, for the next part of your journey awaits you." Margaret felt a mixture of anticipation and fear. What lies beyond the door? She wondered, gazing at her children, whose eyes sparkled with wonder. "Adventure!" her daughter shouted excitedly. "Let's go!" Margaret bit her lip, feeling a surge of protective instinct. My loves, remember what we learned. Even through darkness, the light remains. She could see the eagerness radiating from her children, yet deep down, she also knew the path would not be free of trials. One step at a time, she reminded them, stepping forward as if the steps were laid out in golden light before her. The figure smiled softly, a knowing look in its luminous eyes. Each choice you make forms the fabric of your destiny, it said, beginning to fade gently. Embrace the unknown. Let it guide you to what you must discover. Fear not, for love is your compass. As the figure dissipated, radiant light began to guide Margaret and her children toward the door. The glow flickered around them, casting their shadows against the walls, silhouettes of courage and hope. They moved as one, ignited by the promise of what lay ahead. Margaret turned back, treasuring the last moments of the transcendental presence. "Thank you," she whispered again, this time in her heart. Together, they reached for the door, their hands interlocked, hearts united. As they crossed the threshold, everything shifted. The air crackled with energy, and a cacophony of vibrant colors swirled around them. What awaited on the other side? Would they find the deep truths they sought? Or was there more to learn in the tapestry of struggle and light? Their adventure was just beginning, and the mysteries of the universe beckoned them ever closer. As Margaret and her children stepped through the shimmering doorway, they found themselves in a realm unlike any they had ever seen. Light danced as if alive, swirling in dazzling patterns that seemed to tell a story of hope and transformation. The air was thick with a sweet fragrance, something alive and vibrant that filled their lungs and infused their spirits. "Look at that!" her son exclaimed, pointing to a glimmering path woven with flowers that bloomed brilliant hues. Moments before they had felt the weight of anticipation, but now a deep peace washed over them, a wash of assurance that they were exactly where they were meant to be. With her heart open and curiosity ignited, Margaret remained vigilant. "Stay close, my loves. Explore, but remember the lessons we've learned. The journey is as sacred as the destination." They ventured further, marveling at the beauty around them. Streams of gentle water flowed like liquid crystal beside them, each droplet gleaming with what seemed to be fragments of stars. A light laugh escaped her daughter's lips as she bent to gather some petals, their colors astonishingly vivid, like treasures of the earth. "Mom, these feel special," she said, excitement radiating from her small frame. "Each petal is a gift from this place, a reminder of the beauty and growth," Margaret responded, sensing the profound truth in her daughter's words. As they walked, they noticed others, figures wrapped in robes of soft light, faces serene and wise. These beings exuded an aura of peace, beckoning them closer. The family felt an instinctual pull toward a gathering, where an elderly figure lifted a hand gently, signaling silence. "We are here to share wisdom, to guide those willing to listen," the figure spoke, voice like honey, soothing yet commanding. "Your journey continues, and with it, an awakening. In this sacred space, thoughts of the heart are magnified. Speak your worries, your dreams, so they can bloom into reality." Margaret glanced at her children, who exchanged glances filled with wonder. "What if we tell them everything?" Her son's voice held a hint of fear. "Remember," Margaret said, placing a hand on his shoulder, "this space invites vulnerability. Here, honesty brings clarity." With a shared breath, they formed a circle, each one sharing a piece of their heart. As they opened up, Margaret felt the weight of their pasts start to lift. Their fears transformed into ribbons of light that twirled around them, fueled by love, honesty, and trust. She felt lighter, as though they were shedding burdens with each revelation. The gathering murmured in understanding, affirming with nods and soft words. A golden thread began to weave through their hearts, connecting each soul like a tapestry of divine energy. "Your offerings are seen," the elder said, eyes twinkling with kindness. "With each word, you draw nearer to the essence of who you are meant to be. Stand firm in this strength, and let it guide your steps. Margaret's heart trembled at the realization. Perhaps this was what the figure at the doorway meant by embracing the unknown. The fabric of their stories intermingled, illuminating paths that were once obscured by fear. But just as the warmth of community began to embrace them, a sudden wind swept through the gathering, pulling leaves from the branches overhead and casting a swirling dance of chaos into the air. "What is this?" her daughter questioned, eyes wide with concern. "Change," Margaret whispered, feeling it pulsate through her. Something was shifting, yet she sensed it was not something to dread. As the whispers of the gathering turned uncertain, Margaret tightened her grip on her children, steeling herself. When the storm clears, will they emerge transformed, or will they find new challenges waiting ahead? In that moment, she felt the call of adventure echoing in the depths of her soul. Would they have the courage to face the next chapter of this enchanting journey? The winds howled, and Margaret could only hold her breath, bracing for what lay ahead. The wind intensified, swirling around them like a tempest of light and sound. It lifted Margaret's spirit even as it quickened her pulse. Despite the chaos, an undeniable current of energy pulsed through the air, tinged with anticipation and sacred promise. "Stay together," she urged, her voice resolute against the rising gale. Her children clung close, their faces a mix of awe and trepidation. The vibrant colors surrounding them began to shimmer and blur, morphing into dazzling forms that spiraled upwards, and it felt as if the very essence of this realm was reacting to their openness, inviting them deeper into its mysteries. "Look!" her son cried, pointing toward a cluster of luminous figures forming in the distance. Just barely visible through the swirls of dust and energy, they shimmered with a radiant glow. Their faces held expressions of both joy and purpose. With a mixture of faith and curiosity, Margaret led her children through the storm. Each step felt heavy with destiny, as if the path beneath their feet was not just earth, but a living testament to their journey so far. As they approached the gathering of luminous beings, the winds softened, settling into a tender breeze that embraced them warmly. The elder they had seen earlier stood at the center, eyes shining with wisdom that transcended time. "Welcome," the elder intoned, and his voice mellowed the remnants of chaos that lingered in the air. "You have recognized the power of vulnerability, and in return, you have attracted change. Here lies the essence of growth, a sacred dance of unfolding." Margaret shared a glance with her children. They were still apprehensive, yet a flicker of understanding sparked in her heart. "Is this the next step?" she asked, hesitant yet hopeful. "It is," the elder affirmed, nodding gently. "The realm you find yourselves in is a sacred mirror. Every fear you spoke of, every dream you nurtured has transformed these energies into a tangible reality. The change is part of your journey, an invitation to explore the depth of your souls." Margaret felt a warmth envelop her, a divine assurance igniting a spark within her. "What do we do next?" "Embrace it," came the reply, as several figures stepped forward, their robes billowing like clouds of light. Each took a hand, forming an unbroken circle around the family. "All that you hold dear, the love, the fears, the dreams, offer them to the winds. Allow the sacred elements to weave your intentions into this realm." In their hearts, Margaret and her children felt a rush of clarity. Under this celestial canopy, they began to release their burdens once more, petitioning for healing, for guidance, and even for the strength to face what lay ahead. With each shared hope drifting into the breeze, an energy swirled around them, weaving their dreams into the very fabric of this enchanting realm. As the last remnants of their words faded into the air, Margaret felt a pulse, a shift that reverberated through her very being. Something new was coming, something profound beyond their understanding. "Will we see those dreams realized?" her son asked, captivating the moment with simple earnestness. "Every seed planted with intention blossoms in due time," the elder responded, a knowing smile dancing on his lips. But remember, dear ones, the path to manifestation is not a straight line. Your faith will be tested, and your courage will be called forth. With that, a soft music began to play, an unearthly symphony resonating in harmony with their hearts. It was as if the realm itself were rejoicing alongside them, a melody sweet enough to soothe their souls. Yet, beneath the surface of joy, a question lingered, drawing them into deeper waters. What trial might they face as they journeyed through this transformative process? And what lessons awaited them in the heart of this magnificent yet mysterious realm? The winds calmed once more, leaving the air ripe with potential. Answers danced just beyond reach, waiting patiently like stars hidden behind clouds. Would Margaret and her children be ready to uncover the next revelation? Or would they find themselves caught in the currents of their challenges? As the notes of the celestial melody enveloped them, Margaret felt a shift within, a blend of excitement and unease. The elder's words lingered like wisps of smoke in the air, igniting curiosity, yet entwining her heart with trepidation. "Stay open, my loves," she whispered softly, urging her children to breathe in the energy around them. They stood together, hands held tightly, entwined in their hopes and fears, ready to face whatever might lie beyond the horizon of this extraordinary realm. The luminous figures began to sway gently, the soft flowing of their robes creating a rhythm almost palpable. Margaret's daughter, eyes wide with wonder, leaned closer to her mother. "What if we fail?" she asked, her voice barely above the whispering breeze. "Failure is just a stepping stone," Margaret replied, finding strength in her own words. "It teaches us to rise again. Remember, our hearts carry a wisdom that even uncertainty cannot silence." The elder stepped forward, his presence radiating calm. "Ah, but it is through doubt that faith is tested. Trust in the unseen, for it is the source of strength. Follow the music of your intentions. Let it navigate you through the transformation to come." With those words, the harmonious sounds deepened, drawing Margaret and her children further into the world unfolding around them. The vibrations resonated through their cores, igniting a gentle fire within. They began to sway, entranced by the enchanting energy, the collective aura of hope spiraling higher with every heartbeat. The elder raised his hands, and from his fingertips, a cascade of golden light showered down upon them. It illuminated their faces, transforming each anxious expression into one of peace and joy. Margaret felt this warmth settle in her heart, binding the family in a shared moment of divine connection. "Feel this light," the elder said, his voice echoing like a soothing breeze. "It mirrors the love that resides within you, the love that empowers every dream and desire. As you embody this light, trust that you are being prepared for what lies ahead." In that moment, Margaret was reminded of how she had stood before struggles back home, the bills, the worries, the endless juggling of roles. And yet here, embraced by love and purpose, she could let go of those burdens. Each fear melted away like wax from a flame, revealing the beauty of what it meant to be fully alive. As the music slowly began to fade, the figures around them stepped back, allowing space for the family to bask in the afterglow of their shared experience. "What now?" Margaret inquired, the question lingering in the air like the last notes of a melody. "Now, you must listen," the elder instructed, his gaze penetrating yet gentle. "The realm speaks not only through the winds, but through your own hearts. Answer its call, and the trials ahead will be clearer." Margaret exchanged glances with her children, each face reflecting a mix of determination and uncertainty. Then, a gentle breeze began to swirl around them once more, carrying whispers that felt like sacred promises, words unspoken but understood. It beckoned them to step forward, to explore the depths of faith that would guide their next journey. "Will we be ready?" her son voiced softly, apprehension coloring the edge of his words. "Only the heart can answer that," the elder replied, the tiniest smile curving his lips. "Trust the journey, my dear ones. Each step taken in faith leads to revelation. As they stood in the golden light, a compelling urge wrapped around their spirits. The atmosphere thickened with potential, longing to propel them into the unknown. Would they find strength in vulnerability? Would they uncover the hidden truths that awaited? With hearts beating in unison and faith blossoming, they stepped into the embrace of the winds, ready to uncover the lessons etched in this magnificent and mysterious realm. The path lay before them, an invitation not to just face their trials, but to rise and dance through them. What transformation awaited them as they opened their hearts fully to this divine journey? As they advanced into the heart of the radiant realm, Margaret felt a surge of divine energy coursing through her veins. It was as if the light was not just surrounding them, but rising within them, awakening dormant truths and igniting their innate strength. "Keep your hearts open," she whispered, feeling a profound sense of unity with her children. Each step felt like a deliberate movement forward, propelled by faith and a deep-seated trust in the unfolding narrative of their lives. The whispers of the realm grew louder, enveloping them with encouragement. "This is your moment," Margaret reminded her children, her voice trembling with conviction. They had ventured far together, faced uncertainties head-on, and now they stood on the brink of their spiritual blossoming. As they moved deeper into the shimmering expanse, the vibrant colors around them began to pulse in rhythm with their heartbeats. Each hue reflected the emotions they had laid bare. Their joy, fears, and dreams tinged the air with a palpable essence of vulnerability. "This space is alive," her youngest exclaimed, eyes wide with wonder. "It feels like it's breathing with us." "Yes!" Margaret beamed, recognizing that they were not just recipients of this energy, but active participants in its dance. They had learned that their intentions held the power to shape the reality around them. "Let's focus on what we want to create." The children nodded, forming a circle once more, their small hands clasped tightly. They raised their voices in unison, grounding their collective wishes in the sacred atmosphere. "We wish for healing, for strength, for love to overflow in our home, and for courage to face our challenges." With each uttered desire, the light around them intensified. The luminescent beings had gathered in a wider circle, their luminous faces reflecting delight as they witnessed the family's heartfelt prayers. "Your voices carry profound power," the elder praised, his presence radiating warmth. "Embrace the truth that every intention shapes the essence of your journey. Continue to shine, for the path ahead may be illuminated by your collective light." Amidst the reverberating energy, fear clung like a shadow at the edges of Margaret's heart. Would their desires manifest? Would they endure the trials that the elder had alluded to? But the warmth of unity and love from her children anchored her spirit. "Together, we can face anything," she reassured herself and her loved ones, drawing strength from their unwavering bond. Just then, the winds began to shift, swirling in playful spirals that danced around them. "What is happening?" one of the children asked, excitement bubbling in their voice. "It's the winds of change," Margaret replied, her heart racing. "It seems they are ready to unveil something important." As if responding to her words, the light coalesced, forming an archway of brilliance before them. Margaret felt the pull of adventure ignite within her. "Let's step forward," she exclaimed, leading her children toward the gateway of light. With hands still entwined, they crossed the threshold together, and in an instant, reality transformed. They found themselves standing on a majestic mountain peak. A breathtaking landscape spread out before them, vast fields of blooming flowers, cascading waterfalls, and skies painted in hues of gold and blue. The beauty was overwhelming, stirring gratitude within each of them. "Wow!" one of the children gasped, taking in the splendor. "It's beautiful." "Yes, it is," Margaret said, her voice thick with emotion. "But remember, this is just the beginning." As they marveled at the scene, they noticed countless souls traversing pathways carved in the mountainside, each exploring their own journey, radiating light and sharing in the vibrancy of life. The sounds of laughter and song danced on the air, mingling with whispers of wisdom from those who had walked these paths before. The next steps are yours to claim. The elder's voice echoed in their hearts as he appeared once more, a proud smile gracing his ethereal face. This is your landscape of possibility, vast and alive with potential. Embrace every moment and trust in your ability to navigate trials that lie ahead. Remember, even the path of the light may have its shadows. His words resonated, igniting a sense of resolve within each of them. They were ready to embrace each lesson, each hurdle, as part of a divine unfolding. Together we will make our way, Margaret said firmly, squeezing her children's hands. We have the strength of our shared love to guide us, and I believe we can accomplish amazing things. And with that, arms raised high, they took their first steps forward into the expansive beauty before them, hearts full of hope, eager to carve their unique journey and bathe in the transformative energy of their divine existence. They breathed in the weight of the moment, and their laughter soared high, rising into the heavens. Here, in this sacred realm, they were home, and every step taken was a testament of faith, love, and unyielding courage. Their adventure, filled with miracles yet to unfold, had just begun. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support makes a huge difference. Comment below with your reactions and testimonies about this ending. We want to hear from you. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this manifestation. Only true servants of God understand the importance of lifting each other up through these actions.